Hi, it's me, Lily Divine. I just wanted to touch base here on the Drag Queen 101 video series that I've been doing for aspiring performers in general who want tips and tricks, so I'm sharing all my tips and tricks with you. In this video, we will actually be going through cleaning your brushes. Now, I went to the dollar store and I got myself one of these little silicone cleaners, and as you can see, because I use a fairly heavy makeup, it does stick. You can wash these, but because I use a basic dish detergent to clean my brushes, I don't really care to clean them that much, like my brush cleaner. It's just a little silicone thing. I think it cost me $3. You don't need to go and spend a ton of money on it. It is just brushes. You can get the same effect using a dollar store brush as you could with a brush you got from here in Canada, Shoppers Drug Mart. So, in my sink, I have about an inch of water, which gives just enough that the water, although when I'm washing my brushes in the brush cleaner with all the little grooves, that when the water goes out, new water comes back in, and it works quite all right. Now I'm just using a basic dish detergent. It does help. I'll go through, I'll take off the bulk of it, shake it out, and I'll actually just put in this little pencil thing that I got from the dollar store as well. Nothing major. Now you might find that as you're putting more out, you can actually do this with a bar of soap too. I use a Pears bar of soap at times. I just swirl around on top of it, go in, and I just clean my brushes. Now all I'm doing is circular motions and going back and forth, both flat edge going down the cleaner and also going on the very edge of it, just so that any product that might be in there is going to come loose. And while we're doing this, don't forget that if you want to keep up with the information that I keep putting out there, and the more and more I put out, give me a thumbs up on the videos if you do like them, thumbs down if you don't like them. That's perfectly fine too. It's just to help those who want to get into it. And don't forget, subscribe to stay up to date. We'll actually take that out. Subscribe to stay up to date and hit that bell icon if you want to get the information as it's posted. So as you can see in this one I actually used for lip liner. So I'm just going in, checking to see how we are here. Not bad. Giving it a shake. That's all I'm doing. Now this one I've used for my black liner. As you can see, I'm just getting a bit of soap on there. Now because I use the theatrical stuff, as you've seen in my other videos, it is a bit thicker, so it's a little bit harder to come out. I don't like to use an oil-based product for cleaning my brushes, like some things do have. Now you can get a oil-based makeup remover from Graftobian. I just got some and tested it out. Absolutely fantastic to take the makeup off. However, I don't feel comfortable doing it with my brushes. And as you can see, I just go through to see if there's anything on there. There's nothing. That was used for black. Now the importance, now I say the importance of cleaning your brushes is if you're using them on just your face, you could get away because it is your secretions, your oil deposits, whatever that is getting on there. However, if somebody does need to use a brush and you're the only one with brushes, if you're doing your face at a venue, you might want to make sure that you have clean brushes. Just because you don't want, if you just got over a cold or whatever the case may be, you don't want to pass that on to somebody else because of the germs. And same thing with somebody else. It's not that the person's not hygienic or anything, although we do know there are lots of people who are not, and that's okay. But you just want to make sure that you have clean brushes because you don't want, and you don't want to cross-contaminate with somebody else, and you don't want to, especially if you're using dark colors and you have to do a specific theme like red and black or gold or some color. Whereas I've used this one, I actually used with a black. Now you can't see it right now, but as you can see, there's nothing left on it. It's just stained, and it is a darker bristle at the end. Whereas I have another one just like it. Which apparently I don't. It might have died. But the same kind of brush, just smaller and angled. This one was used for a black tone, like a black pigment, whereas this one was used for both at one point, black and a purple, to go into the blending, all that different type of stuff. Now this is a defining eye brush by e.l.f. I like to use it for the blending, and if I was to use this on my eye using another product, even though it looks fairly clean on the end, unless I have a piece of paper in front of me or a paper towel, you really don't know what is on there until you start to use it. So that's also the importance of doing it. And by the looks of it, there's a little bit of glitter in there as well, now that I'm cleaning it. Now I'll go through with some of the bigger brushes as I get going. I'll actually do them next. And I just put a bit of water in there. Clean. So let's go into, I'll actually go into this, my angled brush. This one I actually use for my, blush, a little bit off there. I've actually used it for my blush. I've used it for contour. So it's got a bit of everything on there. I usually use the blush afterwards when I've already got the contour on my face, because I do use a different brush to put the bulk of the bronzer on there for my contour. But once I use this one, the other product does get into it. Now all I do is I actually take it, and because it's a bigger brush, I start pushing it in like this so it bends the bristles, and I actually turn it a bit. Now this one, as you can tell, I don't know if you can see anything coming off of there. I got some on my hands, but this brush, and then I'll go back and forth. Same thing as I do with the little brushes. Widthwise, across the grain, and then I go like this, but across the grain. So I just put some water on it. Now this is just basic stuff. It's just, it'd be like painting your house, but you're going to be cleaning your makeup brushes instead of your paint brushes. Or if you are more into the artsy, you know, it's the same kind of concept. So I'm just going back and forth, and then I'm going back and forth, because I've already gone in and I've actually pushed it out. But when I push it out, I push down and I bring it, and as I'm bringing it, I'm twisting it so there is more in there. And then of course I go in and I do the circular motion. Little tap, and as you can see, completely different shade. So you're just cleaning it. Now I will go through afterwards, once I've done all my brushes, and I'll actually rinse them off in the same process and then give them another shake, stand them out to dry. Usually I get a towel and I just make sure that there's no product on them, and I continue to dry them off. Otherwise, all generally the same concept. You want to keep going through piece by piece. Now this is just a little, I don't have glasses on, crease shadow brush. It is a little bit more fluffier, and it's the same process, but in this case, because it is a rounded brush, I'm actually just going down and back on the side of the sink, and then I go in my little brush cleaner that I picked up at the dollar store for $3. Give it a little shake, kind of fluffs the end out. It's not really all over the place, but as I go through and I clean it some more, you're good to go. Brushes with, now this is just another one of those eBay items. Fairly simple, easy. I'm sure this is for, I don't know, highlight, I guess, or whatever. I use it for, I'm not really big. I don't know what brush goes with what unless it has it on there. Whatever works for me, I just use it. But this, I use a lot for going in with my loose pigments. If I'm highlighting my brow bone with a white pigment, or a white, like a shimmer white, like a snowflake kind of type thing. So there is a lot of not just my foundation on here, my Clown White foundation or my Ferrous Tone foundation in Graftobian, but there's also that additional product on here, the loose pigment that I've put on. So with that being said, you might have a little bit of a hard time, I just add a little drop in, a little bit of a hard time getting a lot of that out, especially if you've got the loose pigment in there and it's got shimmer or anything like that. You want to at least take a few extra seconds to get in there and really push. I'm still doing the same process, going with the grain, and then I'm going against the grain, both left and right, almost like a cross when I clean my brushes. And then of course I'm going back into the water and just making sure that nothing's coming up. And just as quick as that was, as you can see, it's changed. So make sure you clean your brushes. You don't want to get any bacteria, whatever, especially if you're using it around your eyes. You never know if somebody needs to use a brush last minute. It's happened. I've given a brush to somebody and come back, and that's a good way to get pink eye or whatever the case may be, which is disgusting, but it does happen. It's not out of malice or anything like that. Sometimes you just never know, or you could get an infection or whatever. But like I said, clean your brushes. Doesn't matter what kind of brushes you use. As you get going, spend your money wisely in the beginning. You don't need to fork out $25 for a basic brush. It just makes no sense to me. You're trying to conserve your money until you start making money, and then you can start spending a little bit more. Eventually, that does pay off. In another video, we'll actually go through roughly the price of what it's going to cost, like what it costs me to do a face, because you have your foundation, you have your powders, you have your loose pigments, all that different type of stuff. So we'll kind of do a breakdown of that. And roughly how long it should take for that product and that face to pay for itself. So share, comment, like with a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell button so you get more notifications on this channel, and we'll talk to you all later.